Keep 2 meters apart. Speaking moistly.
Welcome everyone to our Tuesday edition of Speaking Moistly. Greg, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. It's
Good.
Don't Be Demoralized December. So we're lifting spirits. We're feeling great. We're remoralizing the nation. Okay.
And we're starting with Bill C4. So, but
That's
how are
correct.
how are we not going to be demoralized? They danced in Parliament, right? They were so happy. They crossed the floor. There was hugging. Cats were marrying dogs.
Are these MPs like people though? You know what I mean? Like, are they even? I know they're dancing, but yeah, I don't know.
If they were singing, it would have become illegal.
Yeah, these I don't know. These folks dancing. It's you know what's even creepier than that is just all the mask wearing. You know, like I like all these images with them wearing the masks. It's really starting to get on my nerves. Like it's really starting to irritate me because it's, you know, hey, well, let's do the photo op while I'm wearing the mask. And it's like, well, there's no one near you. You couldn't take the mask off.
Yeah.
Or the photo, you know?
So
really irritating me.
I went to the doctor today and I did the whole thing maskless. And like, that was an achievement. I was like driving up. I brought a safety blanket with me. I brought like one of those shields, but it was kid size. So it like ends at my chin.
Shields?
Oh, like, you know, a face shield, like the dollar store face shield.
The clear ones.
Yeah. Like they're glasses that you can put on. And it's like a shield. It's like a face shield.
Right.
And I thought, well, I'll
glasses though.
Yeah. Well, it sits on your face like glasses.
Right, but it's almost like a welder's thing, but except it's just like but
you can't flip it up. When I was younger, I worked in children's mental health, not to get too far astray, but we used to have to wear spit guards at work because kids would spit at us.
Damn.
Children's mental health is no joke, man. And kids are strong, very, very strong. And restraints up until I stopped working in children's mental health were a thing that happened pretty regularly. But we used to have spit guards that we'd have to wear to protect ourselves from being spit on by children. And so it reminded me kind of that, which is
when did the straps, when were the straps still around? What year was that?
That was before I didn't get strapped. But I think my older brother did. I think my older brother had stories about that. And he's almost 10 years older than me. So he's 8 years older than me. So 70, was it in the 70s?
I'm asking you. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Trick question. All right.
Okay.
But I thought that it was quite an accomplishment to achieve going through the whole doctor's visit. And I only got asked once when the receptionist was going to rebook my appointment, the follow-up appointment, to make sure that, you know, I went and did the thing that I had to do.
Sure.
She's like, "Where's your mask?" And I was like,
"Ooh,
I'm not wearing it." And she said, "You don't wear it?" And I said, "I haven't yet." And she said, "Huh." And that was it. And I was like, okay, that was all right. Like all the paperwork's already done. And then she handed me something I had to sign. I signed the thing. And she's like, okay. So she gave me a date for the follow-up appointment. I was like, yeah, this is pretty easy. Like I left. I was like,
no mask. No mask.
Nothing.
I don't wear it. It sounds like a Seinfeld. It's like a Seinfeld conversation.
No mask.
Not wearing a mask. Not wearing a mask.
I'm not doing it. But I walked into it's in the clinic was in like a pretty busy city center kind of area, right? And I walked in and it's a nice clinic and there's like 6 people in the waiting area and the receptionist person. And I had the what's it called, the mask thing under my coat because I felt embarrassed that I had it. And I didn't want other people to know that I had it, but I had it under my coat. And I looked around the lobby and I looked at every single person in the lobby and I was like, nope. I'm not doing it. And I went up to and I just kept like no mask. And nobody said anything to me other than when I was leaving. And I don't know. I think people are so done with this, right? I think people are so done with
agree.
This.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think people were really kind of into it for a little while there, but I think especially Canadians, I'm telling you, there's this unconscious thing about the winter for Canadians. We have to deal with the winter, and it's like, okay, we're kind of like unconsciously getting ready for the winter and all the kind of extra tasks we have to do, all the extra, you know, BS. So, you know, parts of it are great. Parts of it are beautiful. First snowfall, you know, I'm not hating on the winter here, folks. But what I'm saying is like on an unconscious animalistic level where like we need to prepare for the winter. And on top of that, you want me to enforce like mask wearing and stuff? Like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Like,
Like,
that's
are we
too
done with
much.
this yet?
It's too much. At the end
And
of so again, I used to work in schools, right? Children's mental health leads to schools, leads to what I do now, whatever. But in schools, in December 12th, you're not doing, or December, what is this? 7th now. You're not doing much in school. Like if you're working away,
true.
right? Like what you're
Very
saying,
true.
you're kind of winding things
You're
down. You're like, all
winding
right,
down.
kids.
You've
Let's
mentally checked out a bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch Community?
I did. Yes.
Did you? Okay. Do you remember the
Great
one when
show.
Chang, when they were doing social studies, and it was basically they were watching YouTube videos, and they the whole class was watching YouTube videos, and they were yelling at the screen about what they wanted to happen. That's basically what elementary school in December is like now. Community season 1, 2, and 3. Everything
everyone's
after
checked out. You're just kind of like,
Yeah.
killing time, watching Christmas movies. Yeah. It's been a while since I've been in public school, but that does sound familiar. Yeah.
The Muppets Christmas Carol, Charlie Brown Christmas.
And just having a good time at recess,
Buddy.
just kind of like biding your time before Christmas time.
Before Christmas. If you had a good snow hill, you would play King of the Snow
or-
Hill. Did you
or
guys
when
get
the
to play that?
What I remember is there'd be like an ice patch,
Yeah.
and then all the kids
Everybody
would be
would slide
sliding on the
yeah.
ice patch, and then it would get so crowded
Yeah.
that if they were like cool, smart, what were the patrol? What are they called?
Yard patrols. Yeah.
Yard patrol. They would line
supervisors.
they would line up the kids and be like, one slide at a
One
time.
at a time. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, which
and
is
everybody
cool.
would line up, and then
Which is cool. That's reasonable,
And then the unreasonable ones would
no sliding on the no
Yeah.
sliding
You're
on the
gonna get
ice.
hurt.
Are you serious?
The kids at the bus stop were now we're just getting into Canadiana. This is terrible. But the kids at the bus stop, at the bus stop, there's a couple of older
people
boys.
could use a little checkout from the
I guess so. Right? Merry Christmas,
all the
everyone.
all the crap going on.
But so the kids at the bus stop are enjoying the snow, and there's a driveway that has like an ice thing. So the kids like slide on it. Some of the girls slide on it, but the boys, whenever there's snow, every time there's snow, the boys are trying to make snowballs. And I don't say anything until it starts getting out of hand. And it hasn't got out of hand yet this year. Sometimes it does get out of hand. Sometimes the bigger boys don't understand how much bigger they are. But so my son was tumbling around with some other kids who were about his size, and the older kids had snow, and they got him right in the back of the back of the head, and it went right down his coat.
Yeah.
I'd kind of like implied, like, don't do that. And he looked at me, he's like, I'm okay. It's not even cold. And I was like, they just don't even care, man. He's like, I just let me play. Don't get me in trouble. So yeah,
well, that's the thing with kids playing, because it's always like once it becomes really fun, it starts to get a little dangerous.
Yeah,
almost like once it kind of gets into the danger zone, that's when it's actually like fun. And it must be hard. I had to volunteer once at the Boys and Girls Club, and I remembered in the ball pit that it was like, oh, no throwing the balls, and it was like, is that the rule really? Because it's like that's when it starts,
that's the fun.
It's tricky.
It is. Yeah. And you got to walk that line. So back to restrictions and the BS that we are actually dealing with. We're done with COVID. People are kind of done with COVID. They're checked out. They're hibernating. They're ready to move on. What do you think they're going to move on to, buddy? Name it in 3. Can you guess it? Starts with
climate change.
Oh, you nailed it. We didn't even prepare for that one. Yeah, man. They're gonna you don't need to prepare, everybody.
Yeah, I know the programming. I know how it goes.
Yeah,
racism, climate change, COVID.
They're desperately,
climate change, COVID, or
but
Omicron now.
They're trying to get people afraid. Like as afraid as they were in 2020 when they were like, St. Patrick's Day, we're gonna put you on pause because COVID.
Yeah.
They want people not afraid about climate.
Can you blame them? They're like, wow, this fear thing really works.
It's true. I guess people down like, wow, they really let us get away with everything, right? Like,
and you can imagine, like in the newsroom, it's not like this isn't really factually accurate enough. It's like this isn't terrifying enough. We need to make this a little bit more scary. When you read this thing about it not being that terrifying and us not going to die in 10 years. No, we need to amp that up. Can we make that 2 years? Can we change that?
Did you see have you ever
We're
seen
running
Scrooge?
out of time. Shouldn't we explain the science? No. We're running out of time. Tell them we're running out of time.
They ran out
Focus
of time
on
in the year 2000. Did you ever see the movie Scrooged with Bill Murray as the
I'm not sure. I know the movie you're talking about, of course. I don't know if I've seen it actually.
If you haven't seen it, make the time this holiday season to watch Scrooge.
Is this another take on
no, just at the beginning of the movie. Yeah,
Like the beginning.
it is the Ebenezer Scrooge story. It's
The
you
three
know,
ghosts of
yeah, you'll
Christmas.
get
And
redemption if you
sure.
learn your lesson type deal. And but Scrooge or Scrooged at
Is
the
he a
be
hateable character at the beginning?
oh yeah, Frank,
Really?
what's his name? Frank something
That's
or other.
Bill Murray.
It's Bill Murray. Yeah, but
Bill
he's a bad
Murray.
guy. But one of the reasons he's hated is he's putting on this version of Scrooge, and he wants it to be the highest rated thing ever. And he said, you know what sells? Fear. And then they watch this ad that's absolutely terrifying. It's like people are dying in the streets, and like it's an airplane taking off, and like a grandmother
I want to
screaming and
see
stuff.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you should totally watch it. And so Frank, like
Scrooge.
he watches this, and the whole panel of lackeys and VPs and stuff are down there. And then the one he's like, it's got to be like twice that scary, 3 times that scary. He's like, I want people to look at that ad and think that that's not a scary ad, and like how compared to how scary it's going to be. And then one guy speaks up and he gets fired. And like, it's a whole dude, you should totally watch it because it plays right into those baser elements, right? Those things that people respond to without even realizing they're responding to it, right?
Yeah. And I mean, during all this COVID madness, I think about when I was a kid and learning about what advertising was, and thinking, like, having this smug attitude about it. Like
it'll never get
I'm
me.
not going to buy Coca-Cola just because some advertising tells me to. And, as I grew up and inevitably worked in advertising, I understood, like, no, this is definitely a thing. Like, you can manipulate people.
Great.
It happens on an unconscious level, subliminal, whatever it is, product placement. It's all there. It's all very, very powerful stuff that, quite frankly, doesn't really get talked about openly that much in terms of how powerful it is. Mm-hmm. And I think that with the COVID madness, all these people who are kind of following along the narrative, they have the same attitude as I did when I was a kid of that advertising doesn't work on me. No way. I'm just going to like follow along. What you think it's just like psychological manipulation or something? And it's like, have you been able to listen to a radio station, look at your phone or a TV without hearing the magic word, the name of the virus, over and over and over again, cases, like it's everywhere
for your safety.
Like this has been the most successful ad campaign ever. Well, they don't have, talk about a case study,
but there's
Can you imagine this case study? We had uptake all across the world. We had brand recognition with everybody. They knew the name.
Well, they cut their teeth. They cut their teeth on things like Pepsi. They cut their teeth on things like Coke and Michael Jordan and Katy Perry. Right? Like, how do you make
their teeth? What is that phrase?
The world advertising. They cut their teeth. They trialed it on some. So they didn't start with trying to create a worldwide campaign for the COVID shots or the whatever you want to call it.
No, they didn't start with that.
But they started with James Dean, and then Frank Sinatra, and they started making megastars in the 80s, right? Hulk Hogan, right? Ultimate Warrior. Maybe not them, but the big megastars of Tina Turner, right? And even in order, well, they invert too. They take people like Miley Cyrus, and Miley Cyrus was Hannah Montana, and Hannah Montana was a very wholesome character aimed at making 12-year-old girls think she was a role model. And then what did they do to Miley Cyrus? Right? They took that role model character, made her real, and then they put her on a
wrecking ball, twerking naked.
Yeah, she came in like a wrecking ball
with her tongue sticking out.
Thing is weird, isn't it? Like, smile. Yeah. I'm sure you're very pretty, Miley. But yeah,
she's a Democrat.
This voter. Is F. But yeah,
it's completely irrelevant though, right? That's not related at all. Anyway,
well, it's like having the pronouns in their profile. Like every single time I thank them, I'm always like, thank you so much. I was definitely gonna go with the other one, but like, thank you.
Wait, is this in work emails? No, you don't do this.
No, on Twitter. Work emails,
yeah.
That's kind of work emails, isn't it? No, not really. But no. But I mean, like, do people sign off he, him and work emails? Is that a thing now? Are we doing that?
You didn't know about this?
Work emails have I thought it was just
on LinkedIn too.
Oh yeah, I saw the LinkedIn.
No, there's a whole faction in the corporate world that are adopting all of this woke stuff. It's not political though. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. So so play this out 10 years, man. Like by 2030.
No, yeah.
Climate change and he, her, they, them.
I like this on your job location. It says it says
Walrus,
that you're a they. It
Walrus.
says that you're black. This is great. You're totally qualified for the job. It's like, well,
But if I was the
I've never
candidate
worked
sitting
in
there,
here before. It's like, well, we don't really care about that.
yeah. Well, so
Um,
the whole thing that I read an article one time talking about how age is kind of more a feeling than your gender, right? Like your
age is more of a feeling than your
like
gender.
you can feel
Interesting.
older than younger. The whole premise of the article was basically like age is more
Influential
not
or
influential, no, transient, more of a spectrum than gender is very binary, right? Regardless of
Mhm.
whether you like, there are males and there are females, and there are a small subsection of people who fall into neither or both, depending on what your argument is. But that's not by no means the gender dysphoria that we're watching now, right? But did you see the Walrus book by Matt Walsh?
No.
he's he's the number one LGBTQ writer for writing a children's book about becoming a walrus, like wanting to be interspecies, right? Like a trans.
What?
He's instead. I want to like bring this up, Matt, because he's a number. I talked about it on my show. He's a number one LGBTQ author with AL. Okay, Matt Walsh, Walrus book. Hold on. There we go. And I'm going to share this because like, this is crazy. But yeah, the whole thing is Johnny
Isn't
the
Matt Walsh some like conservative or something?
Yes. And he's making the case that there is what, denying of basic biology. So, but what I was saying was like age, you can feel older or younger than you are, and that has less of an impact on just like changing your gender, right? Like just randomly saying, well, now I'm a woman and you have to do that with me, you have to go there with me, right? But hold on, I want to give Matt Walsh his due that I've talked about it. Johnny the Walrus is a children's book written by Daily Wire host Matt Walsh and illustrated by Kay Reese, which was released on Amazon on November 28th, 2021. The book tells the story of a young child named Johnny who pretends to be a walrus while his confused and socially progressive mother takes his fantasy seriously and tries to raise him as a walrus. It became the number one best-selling Amazon book in the LGBTQ plus category. So like he's, and this is the Johnny the Walrus book here. So he's taking the, and I on my show today, I read an interview with him talking about how he's commenting. Okay. Oh, sorry.
I wanted to keep reading.
Although
I don't think our viewers can read it because it's probably so small.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Anyway, but I'll put the link in the description for people who are interested in Johnny the Walrus. But the point is, when you start saying only gay Black people or only LGBTQ people of color, BIPOC, LGBTQ POC people, whatever you want to call it.
Tupac.
Only this small group of people will be allowed to have a job. Then all of a sudden you're going to be looking at candidates who look like me, but who identify as a walrus or whatever you want, right? Because like, well, yeah, I'm gay and I identify as Black because, you know, I look white, but I was raised by two Black people. And, you know, like, did you ever see Ralphie May? Have you ever seen Ralphie? I think it's Ralphie May.
The comedian?
Yeah. He says that he was a Wigger and he grew up in Jersey or something like that, and he grew up in a Black neighborhood. And like if he turns on his I don't know, his vernacular, that kind of conversational tone that where he grew up, and he starts speaking. When he was on, he was really funny. When he was off, he was really bad. But if you see a good one with Ralphie May, I think it's Ralphie May, it will bust your gut. He is so funny.
Well, the walrus idea is, it's almost like stolen from the South Park episode about transgenderism back in like 2007 or 2008, which was way ahead which was way ahead of its time. Well, I think they're busy doing other stuff. But the episode's aged really well, and I think it actually just puts a very neat bow on the whole transgender issue, which is just because you feel something inside doesn't necessarily mean you should take irreversible surgery to pursue that feeling.
Yep.
And in the episode, it's I believe it's Mr. Garrison transitioning into a woman.
I think I saw that.
And then but also in the same episode, Cal Broflovsky, which is like this unathletic Jew character, wants to become a basketball player. So he gets surgery to become a black guy, like a tall black basketball player.
Nailed
And
it.
then no, it's Kyle's dad. He at first he's upset that his son is becoming this basketball player. But then the doctor tells him, you can be anything you want or whatever. And there's all these weird moments of Kyle's dad looking at this poster of a dolphin. And then sure enough, Kyle's dad has this secret feeling of becoming a dolphin. And then by the end, Kyle's dad is a dolphin. And at the moral of the story is like, just because you feel like a dolphin on the inside doesn't mean you should actually take surgery.
When you become a parent, you have conversations with your children that you did not expect. And honestly, 2021 is like becoming a parent all over again, because like things like that, it should be obvious. Like just because you feel like a dolphin inside does not mean you can become a dolphin. Just because you feel like, the other's whatever gender or whatever. And just because everybody in the media and whatever want to tell you that this is the right thing for you, doesn't mean that it is.
I think that's because the environment we're in, like, I think this weird environment we're in, like it's allowed this infantile, like we've infantilized like
it's
everybody,
like dress up,
and I feel like you really see this when you see what conservative pundits and people like you and me are constantly talking about. Love to talk about it, but it's also like, this is such basic shit, like, talking about different genders and how they're real, talking about meritocracy and how that's a thing. And this is basic. This is so basic, and the only reason that we have to be talking about it is because we've become so infantile in terms of, because of like postmodernism and like destroying objective truth and like trying to like deconstruct everything through this woke lens. But it's annoying because I feel like we've slowed down the human progress to this like slow tortoise like pace where you have people talking about feelings, and people like us trying to be like, well, there's a lot of stuff we've actually already figured out, and we're not saying that your feelings are wrong, but they are.
But welcome to reality, and it sometimes hurts. Sorry.
Yeah. It's weird how a lot of it really does come down to what you just said of like, grow up, have more life experiences, get in touch with yourself, like, have some sort of, I don't want to say spiritual, but there's kind of a lack of, you know what I mean? Like there's like, I feel like with a lot of people who are woke these days, they have a lack of sort of awareness of kind of self-improvement or
reality. They live, and not like they live where Johnny the Walrus lives. Like I think that most people would agree that, allowing your son to dress up like a walrus and pretend to be a walrus for interspecies transism would be a bad idea, right? It's like most people, it wouldn't take much for like
hopefully
a normie to be like, okay,
so.
that's probably not
that's
good,
a bad
right?
idea. Okay.
So like when I talk about like they're not plugged into reality, I'm saying like they don't understand that farms breed animals so that we eat them viscerally. They don't understand that if you leave a male horse in with female horses, that male horse is going to them all. Right? Like he's gonna go to town, and then there's gonna be little horses, right? Like you've got to make sure that they're separated. If you've got a stallion, there's breeding protocols, but you understand fundamentally that 1 + 1 = 2. Not like this stallion, we're going to turn this one into a female horse because we've got too many, and we'd like more female horse. That doesn't happen. That's not real, right? And if somebody, if a 12-year-old girl who lived on a farm came up and said, Sally's becoming a boy, the farmer father or mother would be like, come on out to the barn with me. Tell me which one of these we're going to transition to a boy and how we do that again. Right? Like, not real people. Right? And they also believe that energy will come from the sun. This is not something that's viable. Nobody's proven it. Everybody just believes like, okay, solar panels work. Fine. That's fine. You can charge your cell phone on it. Great. Maybe even a laptop, maybe even run a little fan or something like that. But you're not going to power modern society with solar power. It's not going to happen. It's a fantasy. It is a fantasy. And they need to stop living in that fantasy because it seems really close to being real, but it's a fantasy and it's not close to being real.
How dare you? Well, if it's supplemented with wind power, then
And
it'll be
batteries.
possible.
Elon Musk told me that it worked. Shut up.
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree with a lot of that.
It's a
But
fantasy. Well, but that's it. Like sorry.
I was going to mention,
Yeah.
we haven't protected children from any like political
We have used
topics
children as a
anymore.
shield.
Like, well,
like, there's a real scary virus, kids, and you've got to get this vaccine to save me.
You know,
so
what did we used to teach in schools? Just the basic stuff that's pretty straightforward, like math, like I don't know. Help me out here. What the spelling,
recess,
you know, like this type of like basic
spelling,
stuff.
reading, writing, arithmetic.
Yeah, pretty consistent like stuff that you should be teaching children.
I don't.
And now it's like, oh, let's politicize them with all these like crazy intense ideas, which quite frankly only belong in corners of the university that are like super pretentious and super like head heavy. They don't like the super like, is it even cerebral? I don't know. It's like weird social theories that only belong in university.
Yeah.
Okay.
They only belong there. University.
They should not be in the public school. They should not be in a workplace. Okay. Because they're these weird social theories that they're only good for one thing: writing essays about.
Well, and brainwashing people. I don't even think that I started really learning proper grammar, and like, I think maybe basic grammar, but I don't know, like there was like, I guess like conjugating verbs you kind of get with like Paul ran, Paul is running, you know, like the little readers and stuff, right?
Sure.
But like it was grade 7 before we started doing grammar. And the reason was my teacher was like, you guys all are really terrible at grammar. And I feel like our kids are more well-versed in race and intersectionalism than they are in grammar right now. And that's a big problem, right? So.
Yeah, well, and what really sucks about that is grammar is consistent. Grammar is
like math.
Like math. It's something that applies. It's very widely applicable.
Yep.
It'll help you get a job. It'll help you just be, master the English language and communicate. It's a very practical thing. If you talk to intersectional feminists at the very top of the field, they don't make sense. You know what I mean? Like even the masters of these social theories, they don't make any sense. In fact, they probably make less sense than anyone. And that's what's so horrible about all of this. I'm sorry, even a lot of transgenderism. Talk to the biggest expert, the most popular pundit. They'll talk, they'll be charming, they'll have a lot to say, but it won't make any sense. It won't make any sense. And there'll be very, very little consistency, because a lot of the time, what are these social issues or these social theories come back to? And the feelings about injustices and feelings about this, and that's why this is going to be justified this way. And it's a lot of wispy stuff that you really can't hold on to. But I wanted to mention, speaking to like the whole horse thing that you brought up, it's because we haven't protected children. Like we've allowed this weird environment where maybe this young girl is on a farm, and it's like, oh well, why don't they just like transition the horses, daddy? And it's like, well, that's ridiculous. It's like, well, you can't really say that. I don't know. And it's like, what is in this young person's brain where they're going to start asking questions like that? Hey, can we transition? Why can't we just transition the horsey? And then you have to explain, honey, there's something called cultural Marxism. I need to explain to you.
The horse feels like a dolphin. Okay. So we have to cut it off because I have to go get my kids from the bus, and I'm already 5 minutes later than usual, but this was fun, man. This was great. The Walrus book thing will be in the description. Greg, it's always nice hanging out with you. People out there, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. My goodness, the world's gone crazy, and it just seems to keep getting crazier, doesn't it? So, well, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you again next time.